Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be talking her out of dating you. Well, I've got a really good descriptive email here from a guy who is like a classic case of how and what you don't want to say and do when you're texting and interacting with a woman, especially somebody who really started liking you in the first place. It's like this guy goes out, he has a first date, kisses her, everything's pretty awesome. And then right after that point, it's just like a flat spin in an airplane. He just keeps pulling back in the stick, making the flat spin worse and worse until the point where he literally passes out and the plane crashes. That's what typically happens when a pilot gets stuck in a flat spin. They think they need more lift, so they pull back in the stick, which actually causes the plane to stall more and to go more of a spin. And as the plane spins around in a circle, they lose consciousness. So this is a perfect case of what not to do. And so I got a quote that I wrote on this particular topic, and we're going to go through his email. And the quote says, "Attraction is not a choice. Women have no control over the men who they instantly find sexually attractive any more than men have control over who they instantly find sexually attractive. The problem most men have who are unsuccessful women is that when they do encounter women where the sexual attraction is mutual, they literally talk these women right out of liking them. Lack of knowledge of pickup, body language, communication, attraction, and dating skills, in addition to irrational fear-based thinking, is what leads to their failure. In order for men to successfully attract and seduce women who like them, they need to fill in their knowledge gap, practice this new knowledge, and continually interact with a steady stream of new women. Success then becomes not a matter of hope, but simply a matter of time. Time and repetition of correct thinking and action will eventually lead to success. My book, How to Be a 3% Man, Winning the Heart of the Woman of Your Dreams, provides the essential knowledge and skills. The rest is up to the unsuccessful man to practice so he can become easily and effortlessly successful instead of constantly turning women off and pushing them away." So let's go ahead and jump right into his email. He says, "Hey Coach, I've learned a lot from your videos and book. I am still making mistakes, but far fewer. I would like your take on this woman that I was pursuing." Notice the last word, pursuing. That's your first mistake, dude. You're pursuing her. Obviously too much. He says, "I met her off of Match.com and we went for a coffee shop date. It seemed like she was into me as we were there for 3 hours. She was grabbing and touching my arm and she was laughing. Definitely signs of when a women like you, they can't keep their hands off you. They touch you. They want to be close to you. Their knee bumps yours. They're playing with their hair, twirling around their fingers, fluffing it out, playing with it, doing all this shit. It's all how they go about getting your attention to notice their feminine, attractive looks." He says, "At the end of the date, we left and stood outside, and I got the feeling she wanted to be kissed. We stood there awkwardly for a few seconds." He says, "So I walked her to her car and gave her a quick kiss." A quick one. He says, "I told her we should do it again, and she said, well, notice what she says here. Well, after 3 hours of talking, certainly." So in other words, she's saying, "Fuck yeah, I'd like to kiss you, boy. Bring them lips over here and kiss me properly." He says, "She gave me the ride to my car and then texted me later to say she got home fine. So far, so good." Dude, she was really digging you at this point. Such a shame. He says she also sent me pictures of younger guys on Match.com who were sending her emails. I waited 2 days to text her and ask her out for the upcoming week. Well, she sent you texts and emails. You shouldn't have ignored her. You should have said, "Hey," you should have said, "LOL, that's pretty funny. Have a great night. I had a great time meeting you. Talk to you later." You never ignore a woman's text. That is rude, and it sets a precedent. Because if you start doing that to her right away, she's going to know you're fucking playing games. You never ignore her for 2 days and then reach out. He said she says she was going out of town and that was it. No alternative date. So in other words, he asked her out. she says she's going out of town, doesn't volunteer another date. So notice what he says. He gives her the proper response. He says, so I said, okay, well, when you get back and your schedule's clear, text me. She said, okay. You have to be congruent with that statement. That basically says, I'm comfortable, I'd love to hear from you. You're obviously busy, but I'd really like to see you again, and I'm sure you want to see me again because I'm a fucking awesome guy and I'm a catch, and all women that I go out with want to see me again. So I know you'll be getting in contact with me because I have a healthy self-esteem and I'm very comfortable in my own skin. Not that you're going to say that, but this is the place you're going to come from. Think about it. What would James Bond do? Of course she's going to call him. Why? Because he's fucking James Bond. He's the man. Of course she wants to go out with him again. And if she doesn't, hey, all's fair in love and war. He says, well, a day later, I texted her something funny, but she responded positive. And he puts in parentheses, I know, I should have waited for her to text me. Because now you're not congruent with that statement. Now you look like a needy, desperate, insecure jackass. A guy who's going, oh my God, I don't think she's going to text me back. Oh my God, I think she's going to ignore me. Oh, she's probably not going to like me. This is what you communicate. You got to understand, especially if she's attractive, this is what most guys do. This is why most guys, hence the title of my book, 3% Man, because only 3% out of 100 get it. You're acting like the 97%. She gets bombarded all day long by guys that are acting this way. And so she goes from really liking you, and now she's going, huh. I don't know, I feel kind of strange about that guy. I'm not really so sure. Because now you're acting like all the other guys that turn her off. And when the average woman who has a lot of options with guys starts to sense that you're this way, they're going to back off. He says she also added me on Facebook. So she really liked you. So at this point, I would put her attraction level at a 7 or an 8. That's really fucking high. And so therefore, you can get away with some of this kind of bullshit. You can get away with sending her a funny text because it's going to drop, but not to the point where you're out. But if on a scale of 1 to 10, you're only a 5 or a 6 and you do this, that's pretty much, you'll never hear from her again. But luckily, she really liked you. And just the fact that she said, well, certainly, after 3 hours, of course you should kiss me again. That means really high interest. He says a few days later, I send her another text. He says, only one, in parentheses. Yeah. And she responded, finally the weekend comes up. So now this is twice that you're not congruent with the statement that, hey, when you get back in town, just give me a call. You're acting like the guy who's thinking, oh, the illusion of action, I gotta keep doing something to make her like me, because I don't want her to forget about me. Now you're driven by fear, and this is exactly what's going to happen. You're going to make her want to forget about you. You're going to make her want to forget that she ever met you. He's one of my friends who does well with women, told me to send her a follow-up text, which I did. Come on, man. He says, I asked her out to grab a bite to eat. There was no reply for 3 days. Aren't you glad you followed that friend's advice? Now listen to what he does. So I sent her a whiny text and told her, okay, I can tell you are no longer interested, and it was nice meeting you. Boy, that's something James Bond would do. That shows a lot of confidence. That's exactly what a guy who has lots of options and choices with women and who perceives himself as a catch and who loves and values himself, that's exactly what he would do. He says, another mistake I made. Well, at least you're aware of it. He says, she responds, I have been busy and it was nice meeting you as well. I responded, okay, if you want to get together again, just let me know. She responded, okay, thanks. He says, at that point, I walked away and I recognized I made mistakes interacting with her. A few weeks later, I'm on a business trip in Washington, D.C., and I start posting pictures of me in a tux. She starts liking several of my pictures on Facebook. My guy friends were telling me she was interested to hit her up. Remember what you told her. Hey, get in touch with me if you'd like to see me again. You got to be congruent with that fucking statement. But instead, you're listening to your unsuccessful guy friends give you advice. Think about it. If you take advice from people who are unsuccessful on how to be successful, it's like if you want to start a business and become an entrepreneur, you don't talk to your friends and family who started businesses and failed at them. Why? Because they're going to teach you how to create a business that's going to fail. Common sense. But most people don't think about that. He says, so I sent her a text asking her to go to the gala when I went back. This is like the third time you're not congruent with your statement of, hey, well, if you want to see me again, get in touch. She responded that she would really like that, but she was sure it was on Friday and not Saturday because she was busy on Friday. He says, well, it was on a Friday, so she could not make it. At the gala, I sent her a pic of me in a tux with a U.S. Senator. Look at me! I'm with a senator! Hey, don't you want to go out with me? That's approval-seeking behavior. And more pursuing. It's like you're just digging a hole, dude, and you just keep digging it and digging it and digging it. It's like you're stuck in a stand and you're revving the engine, the car's just getting more and more stuck. He says, I also posted it to Facebook and she liked it. The next week I asked her to do another gala. More pursuing. A formal masked one. She took 2 days to respond and said she didn't have anything appropriate to wear because she was on a teacher's salary. I responded and said, you don't need to wear anything super formal and to think about going to it, which she said, okay, deal. The gala was the next day, so I texted her not to worry about it because I was asking her a lot to do. She responded, oh, did you find another date, LOL? She mentioned she had family coming in that night and it would have been hard to do. Gosh darn. Man, you were just fucking shooting yourself in the foot, dude. He says, I told her no, I did not have another date, but that she was losing a point for being unavailable. Dude, she really doesn't give a fuck. She texted me back and said, I'm sure you will find a date, and I hate losing points. Yeah, sure she does. He says, the next day I texted her telling her she was in the negative points with me. Man, this is needy, desperate behavior. Oh, I'm going to talk her into liking me. Dude, you're talking her out of it. Now you're heading into the zone of creepy stalker. He says she responded she was never in the negative and sent me this awesome pic of her in a tight, hot pink dress. He says also, I mentioned I was going to another gala that night and she should come. She said she could not because she had a party to go to. Yeah. Later that night, she sent me another text to tell me that she really had to go to a party and was not being dishonest with me. She also hoped that I had fun that evening. I texted her the next morning and said that that's cool and ended the conversation with I gotta run. The next day I texted her some pics of my new condo. Hey, look at my condo. I'm successful. Don't you like me? That's a bribe for sex, dude. This is total approval-seeking behavior. This just makes you look weak and pathetic at this point. Sorry, dude, but that's the honest truth. I'm not here to blow sunshine up your ass. But the good news is a lot of guys, thousands and thousands of men, are going to not screw up like you did because they're going to watch this video and learn from your mistakes. So that's the good that can come of this. He says, later that day, she texted me and asked me if she went back to law school, would I be her tutor? And he says, I'm a lawyer, by the way. I texted her back and said, I'm kind of expensive and my clients spoil me. Also, I asked, what do you have in mind? Note that I was always the one to initiate text. Yeah, dude, I pretty much noticed that by now. The next morning, you got to let women come to you, dude. When you tell a woman to get in touch with me, you got to let her get in touch with you. She will. But when you text, it makes you look weak and she blows you off. She realizes your balls are the size of BBs and you're out. The next morning, she texts me, oh, really? If I would have known that, I would have ordered bottled water on our first date. We drank tap water. Just kidding, she says. He says she also told me that I was the first person she had told she was thinking about going to law school and her mom would be thrilled. I responded by texting, hey, I owe you for that bottled water, so I will take you to the best place that serves it. Do you like Latin food? Hey, I'm going to take you on a really expensive date and throw lots of money at you and hopefully you'll like me. That's the way that comes across. That's approval-seeking behavior. We can also talk about the horrors of law school. When are you free, this week or next? Well, at least now you're asking her the right thing. He says, also I told her it was great that she's going back to law school. He says, well, it's been 4 days and she has not responded. He says, Corey, I know what to do at this point. Wait till she responds and walk away. However, can you tell me if you think this woman was ever interested in me or was looking at just a texting buddy or was just being polite or put me in the friend zone? Dude, she really liked you in the beginning, and you totally talked her out of it with your needy, desperate, insecure behavior. You're not going to be successful with any woman when you act this way, dude. He says, is she testing me? Am I an option? I'd say you're probably not an option at this point. He says, I mean, she asked me to be her tutor, then blows me off. Not cool. Also, I recognize some of my mistakes, such as not letting her get back to me. Could you go over my mistakes and suggest how to better handle it for the next time? I really like this girl, but I have great things going on for me, and I understand that there are other fish in the sea. I just want to keep improving my interaction with women and better recognize when there is no interest. Well, dude, she had total interest in you, but you talked her out of dating you with your needy, over-pursuing, desperate behavior. So at this point, never call her, text her again. Even if she likes your stuff on Facebook, even if she comments on the stuff you're posting on Facebook, she must directly message you, send you an email, a Facebook message, text you, or actually call you in order for you to reply. And if she does, just assume she wants to see you and make a date. Just your response, if she directly messages you or texts or calls you, is this. Hey, great to hear from you. I'd love to see you when you're free to get together. That's it. Make definite plans or withdraw the offer and tell her to call you or get in touch when she figures out her schedule. And you must be congruent with that statement. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the Products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.